Hello, everyone, and thank you for being here with us today for this webinar dedicated to Woody Social. Um, we are just on time. We will wait a few seconds, just a couple of folks will join us, and we will be ready to start in a few seconds. Okay, I think we are going to start now. Thank you very much for being with us today for this webinar. My name is Aurélien Brel. I am the co-founder and the sales manager of Woody Technologies, and I'm really happy to be with you to present Woody Social today. Um, just before we start, I want to tell you that there is a chat box in the webinar tool that you can use to ask your questions. And of course, at the end of this presentation, I will answer all your questions as much as I can. So do not hesitate. And one other thing is that this presentation will be available online on our YouTube channel and on our website a few minutes after the end of the webinar. So do not hesitate to share it with your colleagues that cannot attend this session. I think we are ready now. So today we are going to talk about Woody Social and how it can help um, producers and broadcasters for daily news production, and how especially it helps to manage the content coming from social networks and get it on air easily and efficiently. First, quick company overview for those who are not familiar with Woody Technologies. Woody is part of the French group Askida Taldea, one of the major players in France for professional services to broadcasters. We have 15 years of experience in the broadcast and post-production workflows. We are working daily close to the editors, the journalists, the support and the engineering team. And we try to provide solutions that really fix some pain points that are um, experienced every day by the users at the broadcasters. So we are very user oriented. We are driven by the customer demand, the customers request, and we try to provide very intuitive, powerful, and reliable products. Just one last thing to say that we are based in Paris. The headquarters is based in Paris, and the development team too. And we have two offices in Zurich in Switzerland and in Los Angeles in the United States to cover both North and South America. What we do at Woody is developing software, products and custom developments around ingest, transcoding, generally we can say media processing and integration with PAM, MAM, all the systems that are used by the broadcasters. So this is some keywords about our expertise and skills. Um, what we have now is a consistent product line with our 6 different products owned by Woody Technologies, including Woody Social that we will see today. We have other products for ingest of many different sources, outgest also from the production environment to various targets like archive, playout, web as well. We also provide now remote workflows, remote ingest, or distant archive, etc., through these various products. We have third-party products that embed our technology inside. Here is ShareIt, developed by a partner company, Automated, dedicated to integration between Adobe Graphics tool and PAM and MAM solutions. And we also do some custom developments, custom integrations based on customers' requests. So this is the big picture of the Woody Technologies activity. Um, Of course, we do not work alone. We have a lot of technology partners in this industry, MAM and PAM vendors, of course, as you can see with Havit, with Cantemo, with Dalet, but also camera vendors, the acceleration technology providers like Aspera and File Catalyst, cloud storage providers, etc., etc. So it's very important for us to rely on these partnerships. And the last thing about the companies, here you have some of the customers we are already working with all around the world, in Europe, Middle East, in the US as well. Yes, we hope to grow more. Now a bit of overview of the technology that we will have behind Woody Social. Woody is based on an engine that has been developed for years now, and all the products are based on this same engine, this same code. This engine is capable of watching, browsing sources, processing media, including transcoding, rewrapping, trimming, stitching, and a lot of stuff. Metadata handling, of course, and make decisions about the workflow. This engine is triggered through an API by different user interfaces or different products. It can be third-party products as well, like Woody Intuit, Woody Social, or other UI from us or from partners. And on the other side, we have all the integrations with PAM, MAM solutions, with social networks that we will see, with third-party transcoders as well, and with a lot of different systems that we can find in the professional broadcast environment. So what is the reason of Woody Social? We have identified that there is a growing need for all broadcasters, but especially for news production, of using content that has been posted on social network. There are a lot of tools allowing you to publish content on social network. Here we are talking about getting the content that has been posted by others on the social networks or on the web, and use it for editing or for broadcast. And we know that today it's very difficult to have consistent and controlled workflow for this. It's mainly based on plugins in the browsers, on manual downloads, manual tasks, files put in a watch folder with no metadata and with no control, and then everything coming in the production environment with no relevant information about the content. So this is what we try to solve with Woody Social. One other thing is that when an event happens somewhere in the world, we know now that the first content available will be posted on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube. So for news production, it's very important to be able to find this content and to get it fast on air, because this is the first source of images that you will have. So Woody Social will also help you to find the content across different social networks. So here is the proposition of the proposal of Woody Social. Search content across different social networks like YouTube, Twitter, Vimeo. Have an instant view of trending topics, so you can identify which topics are really trending now and which topics you should search. We also have a direct ingest from URL, because sometimes the journalist is downloading himself the content, but sometimes we will have an ingest department or technical department that will receive requests from the users of content to be downloaded. So it's very important to allow the ingest to be triggered from a simple URL. And of course, we want everything to be controlled and to be controlled before the ingest and during the ingest. So we offer the workflow control and the security of controlled workflow direct to the production environment. So let me jump to the demo now. Woody Social is running on a server. Sorry, let me jump to the right window. Here we are. Woody Social is running on the server, and here we are connecting to the user interface through a simple web page. So when we connect here, you can see that we have to enter a user and password. This will allow to filter which ingest profiles can be used by the user. So it's very important because you will see that we can have different ingest profiles to manage different workflows. And this user's filtering can be very useful for that. When you come on the main user interface, you have different ways to start a search in Woody Social. Of course, you can go to the search section and just type the keyword of what you want to search, but you can also use the trending topics. Here, the trends are retrieved from Twitter Live, so it's refreshed constantly, and you can select which region you want to display here. And depending on what you choose, you will get the trending topics from this region. Here you can just click on a topic and it will start a search across Twitter, YouTube, and Vimeo here. And you can see here that you can really easily find the content that has just been posted on Twitter related to these topics. And you can switch between the results of Twitter, YouTube, and Vimeo. You can, of course, preview content directly here in the user interface. So this is very useful. You don't need to open multiple tabs to check if this is the content that you want to get. And if you are happy with some video, you can just drag and drop it to the selection list on the left, and you can drag and drop more than one video in the selection list, of course. So you don't need to handle the content one by one. You can get all the content in one operation, which is quite easy and fast. So this is the first way to get the content in the selection list from the search result. Now we are ready with our selection and we want to make it available in the target environment. So we click on the ingest button here, and here you can see that we have a list of profiles that is displayed on the left. The list of profiles is very important. A profile is where we store all the information about what will happen with this content. So where it will go on the storage, in which format it will be transcoded, what are the metadata to be attached to the content. So you can create, as an administrator, as many ingest profiles as you want, and then based on the user management, you can filter who can use which profile. Here, you can see that when I select this profile, I have some metadata fields displayed on the right. And you can see that we have a small star after some of the fields. This is the custom metadata fields that have been configured by the administrator and that are required to be filled before the ingest. So here we can have list fields, but we can also have text fields, and we can also integrate with a third-party system to get the list from a third-party system. So let me fill this metadata. Here I am ready. I've filled all the mandatory metadata. I can click on ingest, and here all the contents will go to the ingest queue and will be handled by the Woody Social server. Handled meaning download the best resolution available, transcode it to your target mezzanine post-production format, and publish it in your asset management system or on your shared storage. Here I am ingesting to Avid Interplay production system and on an IZ storage. This is a typical use case, but it can go and it can integrate with many. It can go on different storages and integrate with many PAM or MAM solutions. While this first content is ingesting, let me show you something else. Another way to get the content in the selection list before the ingest, what we call the direct URL ingest. So here I have the Instagram account of Emmanuel Macron, and he has posted a video. And I would like to ingest this video in my system. So I can just copy the URL here, and I can paste it directly in my search area here. and click add to basket, and you will see that Woody Social will retrieve the video which is behind the URL, and it works with a lot of sources. I will talk about this later. So once you're ready, again, ingest, choose the right profile, add the metadata, and start the process. So here we already have some content that has been processed and made available. So just have a look at the result in Media Composer. I am here connected to my Interplay production system, so I can browse my folder tree. Here I have a social folder and I have a sports folder. One thing which is important, we will see it in the configuration, and that we can dynamically create the folder tree based on the metadata. So here we have a sports folder that has been created because I chose the sports value in my list. And here we have automatically generated a folder with the date of today. This is the kind of organization that we can configure in the profiles configuration of Woody Social. So here we have our clips available, and we can use them for editing. So you can see this is a very fast and easy way to get the content from the social network to the editing stations with a really small amount of clicks, and controlling the workflow, being sure that we will get metadata. About metadata, one important thing is that we also get all the metadata of the source, so attached to the source content, meaning the title, the description if there is one, the author, the original URL, and we can use this metadata in the target system. We can do a mapping of the metadata to the fields of the target system, which can be really useful for a news workflow. Let's have a look now at the configuration, because it's very interesting. First thing is the profiles, and very important thing. So here in the profiles is where we defined everything about the processing. So here we have chosen the interplay mode. We have asked everything to be transcoded to XDCAM50. We can say what happens with non-16 binary sources. One important thing is that we can recognize the vertical videos, for example, shot by smartphones, so we can apply the right resizing and avoid any or wrong transformation of the aspect ratio. You have the audio settings. Of course, a lot of other settings. I will not go through all of them, but we can provide documentation about this. The delivery settings, so where it goes on the storage, where it goes on the in the database. And then we have the metadata part. This is here that you will define your custom fields and what you want the users to say about the content. So here I've defined my show metadata, which is a list. I have defined two text fields, story and journalist, and I have made them mandatory. This is the important part, so you can block the ingest until all the fields are filled. We have some mapping, as I said before, that is possible, depending, of course, on the target system. And then we have the naming and the grouping rules. We can use this metadata and other metadata to dynamically rename the content or to dynamically create subfolders. This is what I've done here, creating a folder for each show and a folder for each day of ingest. So the result of that is that you get something really well organized in your production environment, so you will save time for the media management, for the editing, because you will easily find the content. Another part here is the notifications. The notifications can be of a different type. Email, we can put an XML file somewhere or a JSON file somewhere, or we can call a distant web service through HTTP call to trigger a workflow in a MAM or in a workflow engine. So it's very useful if you need to integrate Woody Social in a more complex workflow environment. All these profiles can be easily saved, duplicated, transferred, backuped. So it's really easy to manage, and you can have as many as you want. So here, two examples. I have different departments, magazines, news, and sports. So I will create different profiles for that. Or I have different target systems, Contemo, Dalet, nearline storage. So I can have different profiles for that as well. Now that we have seen the profile, a quick jump into the users management. So here is where you can create users in Woody Social, and you can affect them to user groups. Here I have created, for example, Navid Ingest and a Contemo Ingest users, and I have created Navid group and a Contemo group. If I go to my user groups, I can see here that I have a group named Contemo and a group named Navid, and I can select the profiles that are available for this group. So meaning that someone who is logging with this user will only see some profiles, but not all of them. So it's a good way to control, again, what will happen. You have also additional settings in the setup tab, like number of simultaneous ingest streams, control of the special characters, which is quite important when you are dealing with content coming from the web. So you have different options here, and you can select which characters are allowed and which should be replaced by something else. So this is the configuration part of Woody Social. You can see that it's quite powerful, and you have a lot of options here. But in terms of user interface, it remains really easy and really simple to use. It's about copy pasting an URL or clicking to search and just drag and drop to the selection list, and it's really easy and fast to get the content available. Back on the search, there is something I missed previously, which is the advanced search. We have here some additional filters that we can use to filter the content that is searched. One interesting one is the geolocalization, because if something happens somewhere, you will have people posting from the location of the event, and you will have the rest of the world commenting what is happening. So here you have a way to refine the content, the search based on a location. So I can see here only the content that has been posted from San Francisco on this topic. So I can just decide which area I want to cover, and then I can run my search again. Kevin Durant. Sorry for that, Kevin Durant, and I will have refined search based on the geolocalization I have selected. So yes, that's all for the search. What are the sources supported in Woody Social? And I come back to my presentation now. We have a lot of social networks that are supported now, but not only social networks. We also support other web sources. For example, in this list, you can see Google Drive, you can see Dropbox. We are working on WeTransfer. So meaning if you have a Dropbox URL, if you have someone sending you something through Google Drive, you can just copy and paste the URL and add it to the selection list the same way I did before with this Instagram video. One other important thing is that it's not only for video, it also works with photos, of course, posted on Instagram, on Twitter, or on Flickr, for example. And of course, we are enriching this list to add more and more supported sources. One question that comes often is about supporting ingest from any website. The answer of that is it depends. It depends on how the photo and the video is embedded on the page. But if there is a way to retrieve the video URL or the photo URL from the link, we can often ingest it, download it, and ingest it to the production environment. So if you have questions on that, just ask me, and we will check that together. a bit of architecture here. So Woody Social is running on a Windows server. It's really easy to deploy and install. It can be done in a few minutes. This is a common point of all the Woody solutions. We want to provide solutions that are easy to use, but also easy to deploy and maintain. So you can easily install on any Windows server or even a workstation if you want Woody Social. It's running as a Windows service. We are hardware agnostic. What you need is CPU resource if you intend to do a lot of transcoding and if you have a high volume and a high amount, of parallel ingest streams on the computer. We have different PAM, MAM integrations, as you have seen here, with Avid, with Cantemo, with Dalet. We can also provide generic media plus XML to integrate with any PAM, MAM, and RCS that supports this kind of media and metadata imports. We can also host the Woody social user interface in the cloud and configure transfer of the downloaded content directly to your facility and to your infrastructure. And for that, we can use the acceleration technologies from Aspera or from File Catalyst to guarantee that you have a fast retrieval of the media and the metadata in your production system. We can also split the download and ingest task and on different servers. So meaning for security reasons, if you want to download on one side and to transcode and ingest on the other side, this is something that we can do combining Woody Social and Woody Ingest, which is one of our other ingest products. And one last thing about architecture is that Active Directory integration is coming soon. It's being integrated right now as we speak, and it should be available in the close future for authentication of the users against the Active Directory. So this is what I wanted to show you and to tell you today about Woody Social. I wanted this presentation to be quite short. So now it's time for your questions. If you have some, you can use the chat box in the webinar tool, and I will be happy to answer your questions. Let's see if we have some questions coming. Yes, we have one. How many users can use the solution at the same time? This is a very good question because it's also the licensing model. So the licensing model is based on the number of concurrent users that you want to access the Woody Social user interface. When someone log on to the user interface, it will start a session, so it will take a license, and depending on the number of license that you have, you can have more or less concurrent users connecting. We have packages for that starting at 25 concurrent users and up to 100 concurrent users. So it's depending on the license, and of course on the hardware that you also put behind the Woody Social server. Let's see if we have another question coming. Yes, we have one. What about the rights on the source video? The rights is not really our business. This is the responsibility of the journalists and of the producers to know and to identify if they can use the footage or not. We are just doing the technical process to get it available, but this is still the responsibility of the journalist as they do today with the manual process they use to get this content. This is their responsibility to identify if they can use the content. One other question is, can you only import photos, video, and sounds, or can you also import texts? That's a very good question. We can get all the metadata from the source content. So for Twitter, for example, there are tweets that have no photo or no video attached to them, but only the text of the tweet. In this case, we can, of course, process all these metadata, title, description, author, to a target environment. Here, it would be more an RCS or database where you want to put this information to create a story, for example. So this is something we can do. It's just about discussing how the integration is made, but the processing is already extracting all these metadata so they can be transferred. A question about splitting the configuration between two servers, one for download and one for processing and ingest. The question is, can we imagine to put one in DMZ area and have another one in the production network? And what is the link about the link between the both servers? So in this configuration, when we use Woody Social in combination with Woody Ingest, there is two things. We have to put the media somewhere where it can be visible by the second server. So if the software doing if the server doing the download is on DMZ, it needs to deliver the media somewhere where it could be visible by the second server. Could be a FTP server, for example, or any storage that is considered as sure by your security policy. And then we need to do a web service call. So it's an identified port, it's an identified protocol, and it's identified IPs. And we need to open the communication between the two servers on this port for this protocol, so we can trigger the job on the Woody Ingest side from the Woody Social side through the Woody web services. Let's see if we have all more questions coming here. I think we are good. So just to finish this presentation, if you need any additional information, don't hesitate to contact myself or my colleague Craig Riceberry for America's customers. We will be happy to help you. Oh, sorry, I have another question coming. So can we deliver media to two destinations simultaneously? This is something on the roadmap. Right now, it's going to one destination, but in a very close future, I would say at last at IBC this year, we should have delivery available to two destinations simultaneously. This is already something that exists in our other product, Woody Intuit for camera card ingest. So I hope I answered all your questions today. If you have more, don't hesitate to contact me or to contact Craig for Americas. We will be really happy to help, and we can also provide a testing version, trial version. We also have an instance running in the cloud, so we can give you access to the user interface to play with it. Just let us know. And again, thank you very much for having joined us today. The presentation will be available shortly on YouTube and on our website. So if you want to share it with your colleagues, do not hesitate. Thank you, everyone. Have a very good day, and talk to you soon. Bye-bye.